How to stop caring what people think so you can focus on making your own success story. As social creatures, we want to be liked and accepted. So, it's pretty normal to care about what others think about us. Being a part of a group or being accepted by others is a fundamental desire for most people. But it's also true that living in constant worry about what others think can be a bad habit and a distraction that can hold us back from achieving successful outcomes. It's impossible to succeed if you're too worried about what other people think of you and your work. If you let the criticism keep you from making progress toward your goals, you'll probably never be going to make significant progress or get anywhere in life. But what can you do? How to stop caring what people think so you can focus on making your own success story? Top 8 reasons why you shouldn't worry about what others think of you. As humans, it's only natural for us to care a lot about what others think about us. But too much worry can sometimes be detrimental to our health and happiness. Here are some reasons why you should not worry so much about what others think. 1. Too much worrying will rob you of your happiness. It's important to understand that the way people are looking at you is based on their perception of you, not who you really are. In most cases, a judgy person can only judge you based on what they see on the surface, but rarely do they ever take into account the real you. Furthermore, when you're constantly worrying about what others think of your appearance, behavior, personality, etc., you'll always feel like an imposter because you know deep down that you aren't perfect. And this feeling of inadequacy will eat away at your self-esteem, making you unhappy in general. So, if you want to be happy, simply stop caring about what others think and start focusing on yourself instead. 2. People who don't like you will always find something wrong with you. Ever heard of the saying, everybody is a critic? Well, it might actually be true. Because even if you don't know a person well enough, it's always too easy to judge them based on what you've seen or heard about them. And it works the other way around, too. If someone doesn't like you, they may have already made up their mind about you before they actually get to know you, and unfortunately, that's something you can't control. There's very little you can do about it. So instead of going out on a mission to change their mind, you can just do your own thing and wait for them to come around. It may take a while, or it might not even happen, but either way, at least you won't waste any energy trying to change someone else's opinion of you. 3. People won't change their opinions just because you try hard to please them. Let's face it, some things fall outside your control, such as other people's opinions. You see, opinions form out of many different factors, and they're based mainly on how people feel about the subject. In fact, social psychologist and best-selling author Jonathan Haidt mentioned in one of his books that opinions are not based on logical reasoning, but based on the person's feelings. This means that if somebody has formed an opinion about you, it's highly likely based on their gut feeling or any other kind of emotion that has very little to do with logic. The bottom line here is that no matter how hard you try, you're not going to be able to change someone else's mind unless they have a genuine interest in changing it. So rather than wasting your time trying to make people like you, it would probably be better to focus on doing your best to improve yourself. 4. Stressing over someone you can't change prevents you from growing. Do you know what happens when you stop worrying about other people's opinions of you? You'll begin to realize what you should be working on improving. In other words, you'll finally become aware of all of the aspects of your life that need improvement. You'll also notice that you're more open to new ideas and opportunities. This is because you're much more focused on the more positive side of things that help you grow as a person. You see, you can't change other people's opinions unless they open up to you. And that happens very rarely. You can't control how they treat you either. Remember the adage, if you keep trying to please everyone, you'll never please anyone. So let it go and focus on yourself and your growth. Those people who criticize you now might think differently of you in the future, when you finally achieve success. 5. Your confidence diminishes when you constantly worry about what others think. Insecurity, self-doubt, low self-esteem, these are some of the things that build up if you worry too much about what others think of you. You see, your confidence diminishes when you constantly listen to other people's negative feedback. That's why it's so important to learn to ignore the naysayers and focus on the positive. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't pay attention to criticism, but you must learn to separate the two. If you start listening to the negativity around you, you will eventually lose sight of the things you're actually good at, and that's never a good thing. 6. You know yourself better than anyone else does. People will never run out of negative things to say, and it's totally fine. It's totally normal. Because the truth is, nobody really knows you well enough to judge you. They may have had their own experiences with you, but they didn't experience everything you've experienced. And the same goes for everyone. So, if you want to get rid of insecurity, stop listening to other people's criticisms. Instead, look inward and find out how you can improve yourself. And once you do, you'll feel happier and more fulfilled. 7. You're not responsible for other people's thoughts and feelings. As I mentioned in the previous section, we have no control over other people's thoughts and feelings. So the best thing we can do is to let go of all the expectations we have of other people and learn to take responsibility for our own thoughts and feelings. Let's say somebody said something bad about you. Yes, you might have anything to do with it. But beyond your feelings, thoughts, and actions, you can only do so much. Yes, you can make amends if you made a mistake, but the rest is entirely out of your hands. If someone says something bad about you, don't take it personally. Don't try to figure out what they meant by it or why they did it. Just take the learnings from it and do your best to improve, but never dwell on it too much. Their thoughts and feelings are theirs alone. There is no such thing as a perfect person. You are not perfect, and neither are they. The fact that you and your critics have flaws means there's always room for improvement. And even if they say hurtful things about you, you still don't need to take it personally. Because, just like you, they are imperfect. And because they are imperfect, they get to make mistakes, too. The key here is to focus on yourself and don't let them bring you down. Sure, they've always got something to say, but you have lots of ways to keep on climbing towards your success anyway. As I said, you could listen to what they say about you, but it's never a good thing to dwell too much on it. Instead, remember that you will continue to do great things, and you should be proud of yourself. The following actionable steps will give you an idea of how to stop caring what people think so you can live your life on your own terms. Accept your flaws. The first step is accepting your flaws. This is important because when you accept your flaws, you will soon realize that everyone has them, too. It may seem hard to believe at first, but it becomes easier to move forward once you accept your flaws. Don't compare yourself with other people. Comparisons can put us at a disadvantage and make us feel bad about ourselves. When we see another person doing well, we tend to compare ourselves to them. We are also quick to point out the areas where we fall short. And even if we excel in some areas, many of us transform into the very people we don't want to be, those who criticize others. Instead of comparing yourself to others, focus on improving yourself every day. Remember that you are unique and special, and you don't need anyone else to validate that. Try to be happy with what you have, but still strive for your dreams. If you want to stop caring what other people think, you should learn to appreciate what you already have. But don't forget to also dream big and work towards achieving those goals. And while you're dreaming big, don't forget to take action. Get started today by making small changes in your daily routine. Be honest with yourself. Being honest with yourself is probably the best way to stop caring what people say. After all, you're the only one who knows precisely what you need to improve upon. By being honest with yourself, you can gain valuable insights about yourself. Once you know the things you need to change, you can begin to implement strategies to help yourself improve. What's more, you'll begin to trust yourself more and rely less on what other people think. Think like a winner. Do you know what winners think most of the time? They are always thinking of ways how they could win their battles and ignore the noise altogether. So, instead of worrying about what people think, just focus on winning. Winning will give you the confidence to face any challenge or obstacle head-on. It will also allow you to overcome the obstacles that stand between you and success. Other people's opinions of you are nothing more than what they are. They are just opinions. And most of the time, these opinions fall short of facts. So why waste so much energy trying to prove them wrong? Have faith in yourself. The biggest misconception about stopping caring what others think is believing that you have no power over your own life. That's simply not true. If you believe in yourself, then you already possess the strength and courage to make decisions for yourself. If you genuinely believe in yourself, then none of the negative judgment people throw at you will affect you. Put yourself out there. All thoughts and no actions will not get you to where you want to be. To succeed, you must put yourself out there. Never stop learning. When you keep on dwelling on other people's opinions about you, the entire world begins to feel small. But as soon as you learn to look beyond those opinions, you'll quickly realize that the world is vast, and there's so much left to explore and learn. So instead of wasting time thinking about what people think, spend your time doing something new. Be grateful for all the good things in your life. When you're happy and contented, you don't dwell on the bad things that happen to you. Instead, you focus on the positive aspects of your life and be grateful for every opportunity and challenge that comes your way. Listen to what they're saying about you, but don't let them define you. It's easy to fall into the trap of letting other people determine who you are. But it's also easy to just completely ignore them. I say, listen to what they're saying, but don't let their opinions of you define you. Instead, take what they're saying like a grain of salt and figure out if it's something you could learn from. Step away from social media for a while. Social media has become such a huge part of our lives. We use it to stay connected with family members, friends, and colleagues. We post pictures of ourselves and share updates about our day-to-day activities. But there's a dark side to social media. It helps amplify insecurities and makes us compare our lives to everyone else's. It also causes us to care too much about what other people think. If you find yourself getting sucked into this vortex, step away from social media for a while. Give yourself some space to clear your head and focus on what matters. Final thoughts on how to stop caring what people think so you can focus on making your own success story. So now that you've learned how to stop caring what people think, you should feel better equipped to deal with any situation. You shouldn't be concerned about what other people think anymore, and you should be able to put your own thoughts first. If you can do that, you'll be well on your way to becoming successful, and once you reach that goal, there's no holding you back. Did you enjoy watching this video? If so, share this with a friend who needs to know this. And if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We're rolling out tons of content about productivity, self-improvement, and motivation in the next few weeks, so stay tuned. Thanks again for watching, and we hope to see you in the next video.